I'm here to say it. I'm going to say it. It was demonic. Everything about the movie was demonic.
It is witchcraft. And that's exactly why I will not be going to go see.
The Lord spoke to me today concerning this movie.
I'm telling y'all right now, do not go see the Sinners movie unless you want to be spiritually contaminated.
People going down rabbit holes, people talking about it's demonic, people talking about the spiritual African religious interaction with the movie. The characters in this movie represent different vibrational communities that is happening right now. The responses that y'all are giving from this movie, the storyline with allegorical and spiritual messages, is literally the reason why the name of the movie is Sinners. The collective response that y'all are giving in this movie is the reason why the movie was created. The masculine figures in this movie, the feminine figures, the storyline of an awakened soul's journey, down to the day that the movie was being released. The thought that was just floating around my mind about this movie is the actual date that they released it. Because around that time, I was actually rewatching the Bible. And if you don't know me, I'm free soul. For the release to be on Resurrection Weekend, it was just too much coming together in my mind, and I'm making this video for myself because I know that there is a resurrection happening within the Sammys of the collective. I'm just gonna jump right in. I'm your friendly rabbit today. Let's go. Okay, so you know how the beginning scene is the end and the end scene is the beginning? I'm about to give my perspective and I want you to re-watch it with this in mind. That in itself made me think of the Ouroboros because the beginning and the end is one in the first scene. And y'all remember the snake scene where the snake made the same symbol. If you don't know what the Ouroboros means, it's like a cycle of life, death, and rebirth. It's like an eternal cycle going on. Which got me thinking also in Gnostic Christianity, it also represents a soul's journey and the unity of all things. Gnostics was persecuted, diluted, beheaded, and all types of stuff. Which leads us into the different marginalized groups in this movie and the struggles they represent. But let's go down the timeline. Before we get introduced to Sammy, we hear a spark of a match and we hear a story that Annie is telling. Saying that there are legends of people born with the gifts of music so true that it can pierce the veil between the past and the future in the spirit realm. We are told the names of them through different cultures, through Irish, Native American, and we're told in African spirituality, these people are called griots. Annie says that griots have a gift of healing, but it also can attract evil. And then we are shown the title of the movie, which looks like a Bible. Now I was scrolling and I saw somebody say this.
Ryan Coogler is a modern day griot because he's telling stories through an audio-visual medium.
I'm so glad she said this. Her page is right there. But I was trying to figure out what was the significance of him putting this information in the beginning of the movie. Annie said that being a griot attracts evil, but it's also healing. For example, Ryan Coogler produced Black Panther, the movie that put Black culture in the Marvel Universe. He's telling the psychological story of being a griot. We may be watching the journey of Sammy, but we're also seeing the internal journey of a griot. Especially with him being in the industry and being a storyteller like that, this brings connection to the individual gifts that we were given to the Most High and the dual existence of your psychological response to the world. Even Michael B. Jordan said, I think that everybody has a stack and a smoke inside of them. And this is what I mean about the internal journey of Sammys out there and the movie being released on Resurrection Weekend. Because for my Christians, what happened to Jesus and what I was seeing on the storyline, the path that Jesus walked, he was being persecuted for him just being himself and the God-given gifts he had. If you notice at the end, Sammy had a decision to make. His father wanted him to denounce the God-given gifts. His father represented obedience and submission into the invisible institution that we have been in, that diminished our original traditions, spiritually, mentally, spiritual, physical, mental colonization of our minds. Colonization that also happened to this character, Remick, who's supposed to be a villain. The timeline that we on right now, Remick hasn't been introduced, but the theme of this movie is that there is vampires trying to get in. But the vampires and sinners aren't just monsters, they're missionaries. Both his dad and the character Remick is pitching salvation and not freedom. Let's continue along this journey of walking this earthly path and the struggles of what it means of being in connection with the actual divine source. First scene, we see Sammy pulling into the church. We see his face and we can already tell something didn't happen. He is stressed and he really just be trying to live. It's like you come to earth with these transcendent powers to help heal this planet. And just like what happened to Yeshua, people just don't get it. Regardless, because you are walking that path, you are always going to have signs to keep going. Synchronicities. If you pay attention, there is an ancestor right there with his white horse, what you would call chariot behind him. White horses represent purity. They are a sign of hope in difficult times. White horse in the book of Revelations represents victory. You can tell he done been through some stuff. He got a guitar and the end part ain't even there. He walks up to this white shed, which is a church. Now, this church that he's standing in front of is a triangle sitting on top of a square. Squares trap energy, while triangles represent stability and power. Now, we know that Christianity has been forced onto everybody in the name of colonization and crucifying the Christos, if anybody knows what that means. Standing in front of the shed, Sammy hears "This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine," which is that Ouroboros happening again, because at the end of the movie, he was singing it as well. Sammy has been dealing with the stresses of being on this planet and wanting to be a creator just like God, with the gift that he has been given. But after a long night, he comes back to the house where his father is. And what does his father do when he sees him like this? He uses it to minister to the other people sitting in the church. As Sammy is walking up, we seeing flashes of this Remick, this vampire man. Him seeing the duality again and the subjugation that's happening with the duality of the preacher man and the vampire who he calls a devil. Something has happened to him where he's had a long journey and his father is using this moment to preach. This is where he truly understands that there is duality in everything. Hence why the people who took him on the journey were twins with different personalities and outlooks on the world. His father's trying to convince him to stop the music, stop messing with them devilish ways, drop the guitar, and then we're sent into the day earlier so we can see what actually happened. Just these bits of information that we're just going through right now exposes the psychological traumas on us today. Even with the clip that I showed you at the beginning, how some of the Christian community is responding to the movie saying that it's demonic and it's evil and it's going to taint your soul. It's like this infinity cycle that we have been under. You come to this planet feeling liberated, and then you get all of these different programs from different sides of people. You observe in this world and you're hit with fear, religious subjugation, colonization, just a lot of stuff that's happening on this planet that's making you feel like, what is going on here? This movie goes in the dilution of spirituality, cultural appropriation. There's our ancestral soul group that has decided to come together. There's no coincidence in anything that all of these people have taught Sammy something as to the roles that people play in our lives as we continue down our soul's path. The fallen angel, the confusion of what worlds to belong in, the root, the bridge, and trying to stabilize two different worlds. We know what the red and blue represent, but let's go into the possible psychological that these twins represent for Sammy. But we got to go into a part 2, so I'm going to see you there if you're still with me. That rooftop burned and that music rose. That was an ancestral uprising, a spiritual symphony happening. Knowing that the juke joint was supposed to be a slaughterhouse, the whole place being burned down showed us exactly what we're capable of, because sinners is in real life. Every system, every soulless force that has tried to drain not just our culture, but everybody's culture. People who are tapping into their gifts are literally burning down programs, restrictions, anything that is put on us to not have that connection with our original source. Notice that when you become a vampire, you're not in tune with your ancestors. Representing conditions of the time period and the different dualities of the villains shows the roof over our head that has blocked us from being connected. We introduced to the Abeji twins. Remember how I said everything came together for Sammy because this is a soul group. The movie sets in the 1930s in Mississippi. We get introduced to the characters. There's Klansmen in the movie. The fallen angel at the door manipulating what's happening between different groups of people for its own gain. But beforehand, remember, the Native Americans pulled up, but there were 3 birds flying around the roof. This is probably how they was able to find them, because there was 3 birds over the juke joint as well. These birds are big than an average bird. They kind of look like vultures. That's exactly where the saying culture vulture came from. Sammy ends up leaving the home that he knows for a night of freedom, and he gets in the car and he's sitting in the back of the Smokestack twins, who are representing Shango, Yemin Ya. They all have primary colors on. Him being the protector, the soldier with PTSD, representing emotional strength. He's a trauma bearer. The emotional strength it has taken to walk this path of earth. Red representing, at least to us playing both sides in the movie, being slick. Democrats and Republic, fire energy, which shows a lot in reference of purification. Their original names are Elijah and Elias. I'm mentally just there with Smoke because of how his colors changed by the end of the movie, but the way the sun was shining on him and his shirt looking yellow meaning that he has found his liberation. Semblance of Annie passing over and being in the spirit realm of her wearing white, and the people in the church wearing white. Not saying anything, they're just observing what Sammy's going to do, and this is exactly what it means when you are on an ancestral healing path. They are witnessing the ancestral curse that has been happening. In observation if the generational curse is going to break or if it's going to be continued. Literally everybody that came before him walked the path so he could run. There's always going to be people put in place who are going to challenge you and help you work through whatever you need to work through. Everybody coming together, including Annie being a significant role in what it means with being connected to your roots. In order for you to understand the grace that you have to have the experience of both the dark and the light. This movie is a path of your awakening of your light. The Easter egg that you're looking for is not on the surface level of the Sinners movie. A lot of people are talking about the Stack twins but not paying attention to Sammy. Being harassed by a fallen angel and dealing with ancestral karmic cords. Having the Ibeji twins to guide you along your journey and your path. Spiritually, twins always mean good luck, good fortune. And they pulled up right around the time Sammy was ready to shine his light. Ryan Coogler knew exactly what he was doing releasing this movie on April 18th, this weekend of Resurrection. Everybody in this movie and even everybody right now is looking for freedom. All the Sammys out there are harmonizing with their spiritual attunement and their gifts. But walking that path is literally just like walking and being the black sheep that Yahweh was. Sammy is the youngest, he is the innocent soul. Everybody else is representing the subjugation of the physical plane and its effects that it has on the psychological mind. All the characters in this movie are a part of a soul group. Soul group is people who have come together manifesting a spiritual experience together to achieve a certain goal for each other and simultaneously healing something that is happening in the collective as well. Sammy is known as a griot with the gift of healing, but it also can attract evil. His journey and observations of the world, looking down at that snake and seeing the infinite loop that the consciousness of the collective has gone through. He's witnessing through this movie all he needs to see about humanity and liberating himself from this idea and program of sin. The Ibeji twins are known for outsmarting challenging situations. Them being known as being gangsters and them being his guide. Coming down from Chicago to start a juke joint just when Sammy is looking for his way out. Everything coming together just for Sammy. That scene where the juke joint was burning and everybody was just dancing and vibing. Even living in the most unfair, uncertain times, having the history of colonization, slavery. The fallen angel saying you're not safe here no matter how many guns you got, they was always gonna get you. He told them that they are in a slaughterhouse. Regardless, the ancestors are still here, everybody's dancing, people are literally finding that light in the darkness. Delta Slim literally saying you have to go through me in order to get through him. This is what I'm trying to tell you with walking the path of Sammy. Choosing to understand that your relationship with God has nothing to do with anybody else. This goes to show literally everything is put in place for you to learn, grow, and achieve. That very night he had ancestors, he had support, he had a voodoo priestess in there. The way the movie ended was a reminder to the ones who are walking this path of Sammy. Choice has always been the foundation, and the feeling that you don't have a choice is the sin. The way the movie ends and what he decides for himself, representing the resurrection of his full awareness of who he truly is and what he wants. Seeing past repeated cycles in the mind and moving beyond what you think and what you know, the ending of the movie was the beginning. Everybody keep talking about the Pope and Armageddon and how we in Revelations and the world is ending, but we've always been walking a path of uncertainty and still being in tune with our spiral. The book of the Sammys is being written. So what are you going to do now that you've resurrected and understand your light? You are going to experience exactly what you need in order for you to analyze and put two and two together. I didn't want to go through the whole movie, but I wanted to really get down to the spiritual aspect of it and how you need to see it through the eyes of the journey of a soul. And understanding that nothing can be good or bad. It can't be just one thing. Everything has duality in it. And all is coming together for evaluation. You are the book, you are the church, you are the temple, you are the house, you are the guitar. Notice how in the end he did not stop using his gifts. Just because you see duality in everything. So for my Sammys, just because there is duality in everything that you're seeing does not mean you should have any type of fear. Because the very thing that put him in danger also protected him. The very sadness and frustration that he felt with the people that he loved taught him about duality in everything. Being able to read manipulation. The moral of the story is the unknown is not written, but it is prepared. I hope when you watch it that you see it through the eyes of the conscious journey that the collective has made through all of the restriction that has been placed on us. We still continue because it's all for our benefit of learning and evolving. I'm grateful that I was able to see this perspective like I was almost watching myself in Sammy. I hope when you rewatch it, you see it as well.